Welcome to Money Market, a Bank of Tampa podcast. We highlight the businesses, expert business advice, local economy, and points of interest in the Tampa Bay market. Follow us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you find all of your favorite podcasts. And please like, follow, or share this episode with a friend or colleague if that's something that is of interest to you. I'm your host, Owen Lefebvre, the Pinellas County Market President for the Bank of Tampa, Tampa Bay's oldest and largest community bank. Joining us today and bringing us a perspective of the small business owner is Ashley Butler, President and how do you say that? Franchisor. I got a tongue tied. Thank you for the assistance on that one. Of Ice Cold Air Discount Auto Repair. We bank a lot of small businesses. So that's why I'm excited to have you on, because I think you're going to offer an important perspective for people to hear, and you got a great story as well. But you're a serial entrepreneur, a philanthropist, a community advocate. You got your bachelor's degree from the University of South Florida in interpersonal and organizational communication. Go Bulls. I am also a Bull.
That's right.
And I understand you also played basketball. Is that
I
true?
played high school basketball. I didn't play for the Bulls.
That's all right. But good time to be a Bulls basketball fan with the men's team is number 24.
We're doing really well.
Yes. You're born in Tampa. So you've been a successful entrepreneur for over 20 years, and so that means you started when you were like 10?
I'll take it. Thank you.
So in 2006, you became a franchisee of Ice Cold Air and has owned and operated 3 Ice Cold Air locations, with the South Dale Mabry location being your mainstay. Do you still have the bubble machines out there?
Yes, we do.
You do?
Absolutely.
I love driving by that. It gets people's attention. It's simple.
The kids love it.
Yeah, good marketing. So from 2017 to 2022, you developed Butler Automotive Management, a fleet management and concierge automotive servicing company. And in January 2023, you acquired Ice Cold Air, exchanging the franchisee to become the franchisor. So expanding the offerings, but gosh, you got a lot going on, and I'm sorry I'm reading all this, but I don't want to leave anything out. You serve on the board of the Kitchen Table Literacy Arts, the USF Foundation Board, USF Alumni Association Board. You're the alumni chair for the Tampa Chamber of Commerce Minority Business Accelerator. And then finally, a founding member of the USF's Black Leadership Network. So, Ashley, thank you so much for joining us on Money Market. We haven't even started, and you've got all these accolades. So I'm looking forward to hearing about your background. But tell us a little bit about Ice Cold Air.
Ice Cold Air started back in 1969. Alan Ayers, he started it with following behind his father. His father had speed automotive repair shops here. He was a South Tampa kid born on Davis Island, and his family was in the automotive repair business, and he planted his flag in Orlando, Florida. One of his technicians started teaching him about air conditioning, and that's how it got started. He had a vision, and he would go around and drive around and find old gas stations.
Okay.
And he would convert them into garages. He would just look for traffic patterns, the good old McDonald's philosophy. Put a business where there's a good traffic pattern,
right,
and build around it.
Good corner, good traffic, and that's plant the flag.
Yeah, I was very fortunate before he went to the big air conditioning shop in the sky. Yeah. I got to be one of his mentees, and so I got to hear a lot of the actual stories of how things got started. And I was talking to one of his eldest daughters yesterday, Andrea, and we were talking about legacy, and he was like, she said, your legacy, Dad would have loved to see this. And so I appreciate to be able to carry on the mission of helping other people start their own business, plant their flag, help them be successful in business, and help them be as successful as they are smart enough to be. That's what he would say.
Did you work in the business before you became a franchisee?
No, actually.
So you just jumped right in.
Yeah, well, I was at the University of South Florida, and I got into the dry cleaning business right after being in the telecom business. So I started out entrepreneurship pretty right out of the gate, like my sophomore year.
Okay.
And I started selling telecom service, got to live in Germany.
Wow.
It's just been a ride, right? And had the fortune to have really great mentors, and got into dry cleaning, and that's how I got the money to be able to be in Ice Cold Air. Was selling my shares of Mango Cleaners, and then I had a little house in East Tampa that I bought, and so I took the equity from there and rolled it into my first location, 803 West Hillsborough, and as they say, the rest is history. I'm sure we'll dive into some more.
Now, so how did you find that location? I mean, what was it about that business or did you just stumble across it? Did you do some research?
Just down the road from where we're sitting right now at the Panera Bread here in Hyde Park. I was standing in line behind Alan Ayers. And I didn't come to Ice Cold Air as a franchisee. I came to Ice Cold Air as just a lady standing behind the founder in line, and he was telling jokes. Yeah, and he was telling these jokes. He had on one of those Tommy Bahama shirts with the Tabasco sauce bottles all over it. It was in trend back then. And he was telling a joke, and then one of them, I just laughed out loud. I gave a big laugh, and he turned around, and he said, "What you laughing at, girl?" And I said, "I'm laughing at you." And that's how our friendship started, actually, right there in line. So we waited for our food, and we sat down together. I opened up my planner, went to the end of the semester. This was before iPhone was even invented.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Verizon Trio at the point. So anyway, I swiped through my catalog, get to the back, and I get to the planner after exams, and he writes his phone number there, and he says, "I'm always looking for young entrepreneurs. I'd like to talk to you about my business." I thought it was an Amway pitch, but it ended up being a pitch for Ice Cold Air. Yeah, so that's how I came to Ice Cold Air. I didn't look for an ad. I didn't seek out becoming an automotive shop owner. The opportunity really just was serendipitous.
Okay, so you got into, when you were in college, you were an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So is this something when you were little, you always wanted to be an entrepreneur, or is it just?
Yep, I was bitten by the bug early.
Where do you think that comes from?
I have an aunt, Marquetta, and I think her saying words to me like entrepreneur and identifying what the drive she noticed in me was and giving it a distinction, because I wouldn't have known it was called entrepreneurship, but she knew. And she's my eldest aunt. My grandmother had 5 kids, and so my eldest aunt, my mom's the baby.
Okay.
And so she's always looking out for her baby sister, and I'm her baby sister's first baby. So she was paying attention to me and watching how I moved through life, and she just kept pointing out things about my character and giving me distinction and definitions for who I was. And I'm very grateful for her. Thank you for having me do this reflection. And today, as you know, is a day of big reflection for me.
Yes.
So I'll pause on that for a second while I let that sink for a second. But she was the one. My Aunt Marquetta was the one that identified my entrepreneurial ways. And I started cutting grass, selling candy. I was making my own little makeshift pixie stick with Kool-Aid and sugar and Ziploc bags and selling those for a quarter.
You did have it early.
I got it early. It was so crystal clear to me. And I thought I was going to be an attorney, actually.
Okay.
When I went to school, I was going to go to school and be somebody. My mom said that to my sister and I every single day, no matter what.
I love that.
And
also a blessing.
Yes, the programming. Yep. Programming children is very important. The way we receive children, the way we see children, they need to know how we see them. We should talk to them as people. And I think that has a lot to do with my success over my lifetime, is the adults that have been in my life, and they've just been honest with me kind of since day one.
Your aunt and your mom. And
So that's how, that's where that kind of started, just being myself and people showing me what that looked like in the world, encouraging me. Oh my goodness, the church. My grandmother had me in church. I was in the choir, ushers board. So, and teaching leadership early, that was a big thing.
Okay.
And so I've just been very fortunate to have the people in my life that I've had.
That's amazing. I mean, that's so critical. I used to was frustrated with my mom as a child. And it was funny. She would always. It felt like a tremendous amount of pressure, but just like, you're going to grow up and you're going to do great things. You're going to change the world. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I can't live up to those expectations. And so, Terminator 2 came out, and I was watching that, and my mom was Sarah Connor, and because she would say, like, John, like, you gotta save the free world, and I'm like, so I used to call her Sarah Connor. But as I grew older, I realized just what a blessing that was, because she was always pushing me further, and you had that same support group around you, which clearly, you've been successful. So how did you transition from franchisee to franchisor? Tell us about that story.
I would say it started very early as my career as a franchisee. Tina Denham, she was the previous president, and she came into the company 6 months after me as a marketing director, and she quickly rose through a couple different changing of positions to be the president and stabilizing the company from where it was to where it was when I took over. She took me to Einstein Bagels on Del Mabry next to Extreme Juice. And we sat down and she said, "Ashley, I just want to tell you, you're not a franchisee." She said, "And the reason why we let you try and we let you do so many things and we implement so many of your ideas in this company is because you're an entrepreneur. And I want you to know that we see that, and we don't want to stifle it. And we can't let everybody else do everything you're doing. So when we're letting you test things out, please don't announce them everywhere. Just test them out. And so she like gave me some she gave me some wiggle room to exercise who I naturally was inside of a franchise.
Yeah, be creative, be entrepreneurial.
Yeah, like let's try some of this stuff out. And a lot of programs we have today, I spearheaded them. I started them. I said what was necessary. I spoke my mind. I wasn't looking for someone to give me a system that was foolproof. I wanted to make something that was successful and profitable because I'd read the Robert Kiyosaki's, The Richest Man in Babylon, the Think and Grow Rich. You know, I've immersed myself throughout my undergrad and even before that in all these books that taught me how to think as a business person and how to want to be a business person. To where I don't think a franchise system would have been appropriate for me if it hadn't been Ice Cold Air, because they were so much in growth mode and exploratory mode that they allowed me to have some wings. They didn't clip my wings.
Sure.
And so we built the company in a sense together over her tenure. It was like, come on, let's talk. And we met consistently every single month. We worked ideas, we worked problems backwards, we troubleshoot the point of sale. And it took me, I would say, about 8 years to become the #1 franchisee.
Okay.
And then I've held that title ever since.
Congratulations.
And so I think that was the natural fit. It was just like, this is your baby too.
Yeah.
And so we're going to exit, and, you know, would you like to be the person that we exit to?
Okay.
And that's how it ended up. It was just a conversation over lunch, just like every other conversation. It just kind of came out naturally between Tina and myself.
Mm-hmm.
And she said,
you were the right fit.
She said, the only thing that makes sense is you. And I said, and I appreciate that. And I'll do my absolute best.
So along this experience, I mean, transforming from, having one location to 3 locations, now being a franchisor, what lessons did you learn? Like, what did you do good? What did you do bad you learned from?
Oh, man, I'm still learning the lessons right now.
No, we all are.
I'm in the middle of a lesson right now. So I would say I've learned how important leadership skills are. I have learned how important being situationally aware is, empowering people. Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth Revisited, hit really hard on systems and processes, and how when you think that you can do a thing, that doesn't mean you can run the company or create the enterprise. And so making sure systems and processes were in place. And so some of the things that I was doing wrong was I was married to the business. I was like in the business all the time. If the phone would ring past the 3rd ring, I wouldn't let the system have a built-in failure. I wouldn't allow it because my ego couldn't take it not being right. But what I learned to do is empower people to do their job and just hold my hands behind my back, put my hands in my pocket.
That's a hard lesson for a leader. Yes.
It is so tough, especially when you know how to do the jobs.
Yes.
You know, when you know how to do every job that's in the business, you can literally just step in and solve the issue, but that doesn't solve the real issue, which is scalability, sustainability, that everyone knows their role. And so those are the things that I've learned, is to empower people and hold them accountable to their roles and responsibilities, keep things within line, keep metrics within line, and review things. Also review things transparently.
Okay.
I remember when we made it.
Transparently, you mean with
the staff,
with the team? Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Have them understand exactly where the company is, where you're going, be a part of the vision. Yes. That's a big one. 2018, right before that, I was a part of a group called the Entrepreneur Organization. Really awesome organization, and it's an international organization.
Okay.
And I met a lot of great top entrepreneurs here in the Tampa Bay community, and one of them was Jonathan Bowman. And he was reading this book called Traction by Gino Wickman. And he would talk about rocks and setting rocks and all. He'd had all the cliche and the lingo. And I took the book and I started doing it. And implementing EOS was one of the biggest successes.
Okay.
Humongous success. And that really puts sharing the information in a transparent format. It really makes it so clear because it's like a 2-page document, and I could just sit here with you and I can tell you my 3-year vision, my 10-year vision, what we need to do. And now within a 30-minute lunch, I can sit you, and now you know, okay, this is where we're going. This is what we're up to. I'm ready to go. Let's go do it. Instead of,
yes.
You know what happens after you do
a
week-long planning. No one reads those.
No.
It has to be really quick. And so that's what I mean by transparent, easy to digest, easy to implement.
So what have you noticed with the staff since that implementation?
How
has that transformed?
Everybody knows what they're supposed to do.
Okay.
There's not a lot of bottlenecking. My phone doesn't ring. Everyone knows who to call.
Okay.
And then when the issue gets to me, they've already processed it out. They've done the what would Ashley do. They've already.
Should everybody bracelets too?
No bracelets. Because I want them to have their own bracelet.
I like that.
Yeah, this is your seat. This is not my seat. It used to be my seat. Not my seat anymore. It's your seat. Own the seat. Work the plan the way it was set out. If there's something in the plan that we've grown out of, let's discuss it. Let's make the change, because we don't have any sacred cows. That's also EOSism.
That's a huge,
No sacred cows. Nothing that was here before, if it doesn't serve us, it's not going to stay.
Right.
So let's talk about it. Let's weigh it up, and let's see if it really needs to be, or if it needs to be transformed. So understanding that transformation is not a diss on the past, it's a leveling up from the past.
Well, things need to evolve, right? Otherwise, if you're not changing, you're dying. Right?
That's what I always say. One time I said it to a 6-year-old, and I got my hand popped, because it's like, you don't say that to a 6-year-old. You're not growing, you're dying. Like, oh, well, hey, lady, chill out. I was like, yeah, that's wrong. Shouldn't have said that. But I was young. I was probably like 22 when I said it.
That's you get a pass.
Thank you.
So what about something you would do differently? I mean, as leaders, we all make mistakes. I make mistakes every day still. I mean, if you had a do-over on something that you're willing to share.
Holding on to people out of fear, holding on to the wrong people.
Okay.
Wrong people, wrong seats won't ever work. I think that was Good to Great.
Yep.
Jim Collins.
Yep.
Right people, right seat has to be the deal. People who live and work by the
right
core
seat on the
values.
bus,
Yeah, you got to have the right people in the right seats, and they have the GWC. And so before I had those distinctions, I would hold on to people because it was comfortable. I would hold on to people because I didn't want to have to do that job again.
Well, what about having the hard conversations? Was that ever an issue?
Oh man, when I was younger, the hard conversations weren't hard because I was missing certain pieces of grace.
Okay.
They were too hard. they were too hard, to be frank. But I was clear that I had everything on the line, and that they were kind of taking my kindness for weakness in this industry. It's not normal.
Taking advantage of you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Smiling in your face, stabbing in the back, and so. The things that I would say for young leaders is check your bellyometer. Check your bellyometer. Alan Ayers would always say, you know what's right. Check your bellyometer. It'll tell you. And when you feel like...
It's just trust your gut.
Yeah, trust your gut. That's it. It's very simple. And believe, my mom would say, you can listen to what people say, but you have to trust what you see them actually do.
Yes.
And so
Actions speak louder than words.
They
right?
speak way louder than words. But sometimes when you feel like you're in the need for somebody, you may try to lie to yourself.
We make a lot of excuses for people, right? People that we want to believe that their motivations are right, or they'll come around and do the right thing, but
trying to turn the other cheek all the time. We only have so many cheeks.
I got 4.
I know. After they kick the other ones, it hurts.
That's good. So what is the most rewarding experience as a business owner you've had?
Watching people succeed.
Okay.
Watching people get what they want.
Do you have another Ashley?
I have a one. I think I have a couple right now because of our focus of right people, right seats, and core values and leadership. I have a few people right now that I think are going to change their family's trajectory, which is a big part of my purpose, is to see how many blue-collar millionaires and financially free people, or at least time freedom to where they can at least control their time. Maybe you don't get rich, right? Being an own business owner, that doesn't always happen.
Right.
But you could get rich with your time. You can get rich with your family. You can get rich with accessibility to serve your community. And so watching people get the things that they tell me that they want, we have quarterly conversations. I listen to their goals. I listen to what their kids want, the things they want for their kids. And watching them attain those things, priceless.
That's rewarding. Yeah, as a leader, that makes it
watching
worthwhile.
someone who's thought they were always going to be a renter, their parents are renters, and help them to get their credit straight, by facilitating coursework, helping them get a mortgage coach, helping them buy that house, watching somebody go from making $15 an hour changing oil to now over $120,000 consistently.
That's amazing.
Like, wow, literally changing lives. And that's the biggest part, is watching people prove it to themselves. Because I can believe in you all day on.
Mm-hmm.
But when you prove it to yourself and you look yourself in the mirror.
And you can't teach that.
Nope.
They have to come to that conclusion by themselves, and that's incremental progress. I do have a question for you though, is when you're hiring people,
mm-hmm.
And I'll take a step back because I don't know that I have figured it out. I mean, I have a process, but until you actually have someone in and doing the job, and you could see. I mean, you just see not only their performance, but their desire, skill or will, mm-hmm. right? And more often than not, they don't have the skill, but if they have the will, you can teach them the skill.
Yeah.
So I sat down with the Business Journal for an interview one time, and he had asked, like, what's your secret? And I'm like, I don't have one. I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, well, I appreciate you being candid. But so what's your secret to hiring people?
We have a team. My wife and partner, Adrienne, she went and became CHR. She went to go SHRM certified. So it's a organization that kind of teaches you all the rights and wrong things you can do related to HR. And It's a membership, but it's also you have to go to some classwork to get the certification. And so I learned a lot about hiring through her. But so before we became formal, I didn't believe in that slow to hire, quick to fire in our business because we're hiring blue collar.
Right.
And so I can take you and do a disc analysis, and I can do all that slow to hire work that corporate does, and then you can get here and you can't fix your way out of a wet paper bag.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd rather say, hey, you hold your head up, you have a goal in your mind, you have some tools. I'll give you a week worth of work. Come over here and work for a week. Let me see what you have.
Okay.
Throw them on payroll for a week. It's like a tryout, just like the sports, just like NFL. You get a walk-on try. Right. Let me see what you have.
Show
let
up
me
on
see
time,
how you
work
handle
hard.
let me see how you handle yourself in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Because technicians, with that respect, those toolboxes have wheels for a reason. A lot of people, they kind of say they're like gypsies because they can be in a Toyota uniform today and an ice Cold Air uniform tomorrow. They all have to fit into the right places. And so I give people a try. My secret would be that I give you a try. And I let you own your outcome. We teach extreme ownership as well.
Okay.
And so it's like, you know what? Here's your chance. People have given me chances so much. Could you imagine people not giving me chances because of what they thought
mm-hmm.
on the outside looking in? And so I want to give people chances. So I would say my secret weapon would be there's much red tape as you can create, remove a lot of it. And if they're hireable in the United States, like legal, then give them a chance. Let's see what they have.
Now, how far do you let that go with the leash, or is that just subjective and you figure out case by case?
Yeah. I mean, there's an interview process, first interview with this person to make sure you have this, second interview with this person, next interview. And depending on your position, you're probably going to have a core value interview with me. If you're going to associate yourself with my clients, be on the service desk, you're going to be out in the public, then you have to have a core value interview.
What do those questions look like?
And the core values?
Yeah, how do you get down to the core values?
Let's see. What's important to you? I'll just let them start to tell me what's important to them and what are they looking for in life, not just out of a job. What's the most important thing that they can get in their lifetime if they were to accomplish it? If there were somebody in their life they could say thank you to, who would that be and why? What mentors stood out to them? Tell me a story how you failed. Tell me a story how you succeeded. Tell me a story when a customer was flat out wrong and you had to correct them. How did you do it? And so those are the ways I determine like temperament and mindset. And so those open-ended questions where I get to hear where they come from. And to me, I like a nervous interviewee.
Okay.
I like a nervous.
Show they care, right?
I like a nervous interviewee. It seems like every time I've had the perfect interviewee. I was like, all right, this is going to be wonderful.
They've got a lot of practice.
Because they'll be on an interview in 2 weeks with me because I cut them fast. I was like, nope, no thanks. I appreciate the time, but that we're not going to do that again.
Do you find that people can easily answer the bigger questions? Because it's amazing. I mean, when you get down to like skill things and those seem to be pretty easy. But when you're asking people about the big picture, like what do you really want out of life? What makes you happy? Are they able to answer those questions?
It depends on, I think, their background and history. The more established people, the wiser, the older, I think that they've had time to think about it. And so they actually have answers and they are honest. I think that the younger people, they really want to try to get the job. They want to say the right things, even if they want to say what they think you want to hear.
Right.
Those can be kind of a struggle, but sometimes you get a younger one and they wow you and you go, I know that twinkle. Oh my God, this is going to be fun. And then you get excited because you go, this is going to be a good match. Like I'm going to be able to challenge this person. I'm going to be able to push this person. This person will probably come take my job and I welcome them to it.
Well, so speaking of that, you had a mentor.
Yes, several.
Do you have mentees and how do you approach, if you do, like how do you approach that relationship?
I have, our family is definitely committed to our community. So we have mentees at the University of South Florida. I have business mentees. There's no format that I have for each mentee because it's based on what they need. I think they come with the need and then we solve the issue together. And it's almost like going to a therapist where there's a couple tactics I probably have to help you work through a coping mechanism. But most of the answers you already have yourself. I'm just going to help guide you to it and empower you to hear that voice inside of you. And when you say the right answer, I'm going to say, now say that a little bit louder.
Okay.
And now how does that feel? Oh, I do know the answer. Yeah, you don't have to check that answer against anybody else. You know that answer.
And that's so much more powerful when you lead them with questions and they find the answer by themselves and they get it and the light bulb goes off. And
they don't have to come back to you to answer that same question again because now they're starting to understand and feel the power of their voice, and that's what I mean by empowerment. Like, I'm going to show you how to find the answers over there. And my answers worked for Ashley.
Right.
My answers may not work for you.
Right. Everybody's different.
Every one of us is different and uniquely special, and we need to lean into that. I know that we have this society where everybody, wants to be an influencer, but the truth of the matter is everyone is an influencer. Everyone is a leader. Now, are you influencing people for good? Are you leading people to good? Now, that's where the value of the influencer shifts. But every single person inside of our organization, I talk to them as though they're a leader.
That's empowering.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
it gives them that ownership you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, you can be coached. You can be a coachee. We do a lot of coaching. Like most people have disciplinarian forms in their business for write-ups and things along those lines. All our forms say coaching. This is a coaching. And now there's different levels of coaching. And there's a box, this is just a general conversation. This is a reminder. Okay, this is going towards this. Hey, now you're about to have a conversation with HR because there might be an exit interview coming soon. Because you keep needing to be coached about this. And so usually once you sit down with somebody, you actually do real coaching. It doesn't feel like you're reprimanding. It doesn't feel as though you're popping their hands like they're children. It sounds like, man, thank you. You notice that I keep getting the ball stolen when I put it in my left hand and I turn my shoulder like this. And so you're going to make this adjustment on me so that doesn't happen. Bringing it back to a sports analogy.
Yeah,
and so it's real coaching what we do and real leadership because how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes.
And so if you're at work avoiding conflict, as I'm coaching you through a thing, I might ask you a follow-up question. And Owen, how is this showing up outside of work? And then when you see someone cry, you've hit a nerve.
Yes,
and it's something that they've known they need to work on, and no one has taken the time to even help them. As employers, we're kind of like guidance counselors.
That's good analogy.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're helping adults pass secondary education, sometimes pass undergrad. There's people that have PhDs or physical doctors that are being mentored and coached at the age of 50 and 60.
Oh, sure.
Because
I have had an executive coach.
Learning never stops.
Nope.
Learning never stops. And when you do it with grace and love, lifelong learning is a great core value to have. So anyhow, leadership is it's one of my favorite subjects. If you
you're passionate about it.
I'm very passionate about it.
I enjoy hearing about it. So it's a little bit of a challenging time being a small business owner right now. So costs are up, wages are up. How are you navigating the current environment?
Man, I tell you right now, my operations team, we've looked over the fourth quarter and we looked over the first quarter, and we are so happy that it's warm because a lot of ice cold airs haven't built up a good enough fleet business just yet. So fleets, we're looking for you. We're ready to serve your vehicles. And so the weather dictates success a lot of times. And so we saw some struggles. And like you said, wages are up, but only because we can't really charge the customer what it really costs to produce things sometimes, right? What it costs to produce milk and eggs, there's subsidies for all of that, because if we really had to have farmers charge us what it costs, people probably wouldn't eat as many eggs and drink as much milk because it's expensive to actually do the thing. So I can't go to you and say, hey, you want an hour's worth of labor? Truly, it costs you $240 an hour. Oh my goodness, that's wild. Why? And so I can only charge you what the market can bear. And that means that I can only pay so much. However, I can't pay you the appropriate percentage for that because you won't be able to live in Tampa. You won't be able to live in this metro area because the rents are so out of control. So I have to pay you to keep good people. I have to pay you a little bit more than the margins will allow. That means what has to suffer? Somewhere in between.
Right.
What has to suffer? Usually the bottom line. And so how can we build it back? And so those are the things that you have to figure out in your business. Where can you squeeze the margins? Where can you be on a skinny chicken? What things you don't need? You know, that's an Alan Ayers-ism. Alan Ayers, the skinny chicken story. But there's all these things that you have to figure out in your business, what's necessary, what's not necessary, because I'll tell you what's necessary every single week are my people.
Yeah.
You know, the parts we put on the cars, the building we're in. And so what isn't necessary? Well, the subscription to this thing nobody really even touches, or buying this in bulk. You know, we can just buy that one off. And so you figure out what things, and then we teach that to scale to the franchisees. Hey, if you're suffering from this, this, and this, pay attention to this, this, and that. And so it's all discovery and paying attention and reviewing the numbers every single week to see how you're going to navigate the changes, because it is tough right now. Inflation is up. And no matter what the CPI or the Fed comes out to say, people are feeling it. Our customers are feeling it. Debt is
Your
at an
employees are
all-time
feeling it. Everyone's,
Everyone.
Yes, yeah. It's a tough time. I did read in your bio that I shared with everybody all the great work you're doing in the community. And so before we wrap up, I want you to talk about some of the things that you do, you're passionate about, that's making an impact in Tampa Bay. I'll
start with one of the things you didn't mention, because from before that bio, I guess, came over to you at the fourth quarter this year. I joined the Florida College Access Network Board of Advisors.
Okay.
And it's in response to our governor's request that we have 60% of people living in the state of Florida have a college degree. And so we're at 56, 57%. So we're very close, but it's not because we're graduating more people or people are going back to school and completing degrees. Is simply because of the migration.
Okay.
And so we're having people come from California and come from New York. And so that's what's bringing our edge up. So we still have an issue. Education, access to education is important, no matter what you're going to do with it. And so
huge in early childhood education. Right, huge.
We have to. And the more educated a society can be, the better we can be as we become resourceful and co-op resources and help each other systematically. So I'm really enjoying being at the table of the Board of Advisors with Florida College Access Network. I'm learning a lot on the foundation board of the University of South Florida, how fundraising works at an institutional level, which ways alumni can get together to support and drive things that we wish that were there when we were in school, and how to create programming and systems for that. Being a co-founder of the Black Leadership Network, it's been fun to watch that program develop and have Helios Education really step up to have us create something that's going to be there forever. And so that would be, I think, where I think I'm having the most fun. Okay. Is putting things in place that'll be here long after me, and
building that legacy,
building a real legacy that, you know, I'm gonna live this thing full out all the way to the last. I'm gonna turn this body in, use like down to the core. I'm gonna give everything I have to this community. Tampa Bay has been so amazing to me since I was a little girl. This place, like, I'm so grateful that this was the last place my grandfather was stationed, and that this is where I got to that I had the opportunity to grow up, because it's just been such a loving place, you know. And so I want to do my best to pour back into our community and help not only my employees get better, but their families and the people who are our customers, and support the schools around us. We just had a news piece happen, and the interviewer at the end, we were off mic, and he goes, "It seems like you're running a ministry more than a business." And I thought about it, and I went, I guess it would seem like that, because every single quarter we make sure we do something meaningful to give back to the community. And we're really good at asking our vendors to get involved. Like right now, we have Advanced Auto Parts giving us free ceramic brake pads so that we can give free brake jobs for Breaking for Hunger for the Feeding Tampa Bay. Incredible. And so that's like what I love to do, is every single day come up with a way to make it better for people who are struggling and people who want to get better. For my employees, people who want to get better, I'm going to bring someone here to talk about mortgages and budgeting, and I'm going to bring somebody to you to have a class about these things. You don't have to go and get to YouTube and pay somebody $300 a month to, no. Next Tuesday, we're having this, join on the Zoom. This person's going to come show you how they do this.
I love that.
Yeah. So being on the court and observing, being situationally aware of things that are necessary, talking to young people consistently, letting them have access to me. 2 nights ago, University of South Florida, St. Pete, we did a networking session where I just talked about what you should do when you're out networking, and how to be a certified networker, and questions to ask, and how to keep meaningful contact.
It's a great skill.
It's a skill that has paid me off in yields. So thank you for the question.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You are definitely making an impact, and I'm delighted you're a client. I'm delighted you stayed here in Tampa Bay. I mean, I did the same thing. Like, why am I going to go away to school? Because I want to live here, so let me go to USF. And so it's great to know that there's people out there making a difference. And if people want to find you, how do they reach out to you?
Oh, you can find us icecodair.com.
Okay.
You can also, if you're a social media person, I think my profile's open. It's Ashley A.B. Butler on Facebook. I think I'm a safe watch. I don't do anything too risque. And you can find me.
Safe for work.
Yeah. I people follow me. My employees follow me. Young people follow me, and so I try to be as PG-13 as a 40-year-old woman can be. But you can find me. You can find me anywhere. Ashley A.B. Butler, Tampa, Florida, Ice Cold Air. If you Google that, you'll find me. If you call any of my shops, they can message me on Slack, and I can call you within 30 minutes.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Ashley, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Warren.
So if you have got a question or a future show idea, or would like to be a sponsor, you can send us a message at moneymarket@bankoftampa.com, or find us on LinkedIn, X, Facebook, and on Instagram at Bank of Tampa, and online at bankoftampa.com. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you around in the Money Market.